What's up, guys? My name is Kelly, and this is Kelly's Corner of Nightmares. Today is going to be a very different list, slash video, I guess I should say. Today, I am going to be doing my top 4 horror movies that were based on true events slash stories. Buckle up, Buttercup, because this is going to be a wild ride of lots of information that you don't want to know, and that you never knew, probably. And that you probably knew, but you're interested in seeing it anyway. Thank you for that. My number 4 is going to be The Strangers. Well, surprisingly enough, this movie was based on a few things that had actually happened. One instance was being the actual Helter Skelter killings led by Charles Manson, specifically the Sharon Tate murder. Awful, awful murder. Another instance was Ketty Cabin murders. Still remains unsolved to this day, and even the motive remains unknown, which is kind of disturbing if you think about it. But if you guys haven't heard of these murders before, these murders happened in California in 1981 to a Sue Sharp and her family. R.I.P. Lastly, this film is also loosely based on some robbers that knocked on the director's door of the movie, the director of the movie's door, The Strangers. And he was very young at the time. He was just a kid. So he opens up the door and they were asking if someone who doesn't live there is home. But meanwhile, they were actually robbing other people's homes while they weren't home. Traumatic childhood experience much? That brings me to my number 3, which is A Nightmare on Elm Street. I can say words. The story is very loosely based on the outbreak of sudden, unexplained death syndrome that happened amongst Southeast Asian refugee men. And there were allegedly 13 reports of SUDS between the years 1986 and 1988. But 12 of those deaths that were reported occurred at night or in their sleep, when Vietnam and Cambodia were rampant with war and genocide. Some of the Southeast Asian men fled to the United States for comfort and protection, but a heart abnormality or stress could be factors for this SUDS outbreak. All of these causes of deaths that were reported were unknown, so no one actually knows. That's fucking freaky. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about my number 2, which is Jaws. Although it wasn't really based on this particular event, let's talk about the shark attacks that happened between July 1st and July 12th along the coast of New Jersey in 1916. There were a reported 4 people killed and 1 injured between that, a nasty heat wave, and the polio outbreak. It wasn't exactly a great summer that year. So many people were outraged by this tragedy that they set up a whole ass manhunt and even posted a $100 reward for anyone who might be able to kill this shark or sharks. Now, mind you, $100 back then was a lot of money. So people were out there just straight up. But yeah, this made people turn to weapons and throw dynamite at even the slightest sight of movement in the waters. Finally, a man named... Names are not my strong suit, as you know, so I'm going to try my best here. Michael Schlesinger. He found and killed said shark or sharks. And apparently the attacks didn't happen again at all for the rest of that year. Also, a little side note, I found it super interesting that people literally were not afraid of sharks back then. Like, that just wasn't a thing. What? Or before this, like, manhunt, no one thought that it was going to be a shark that's killing these people. It was just like a giant fish. What? And that brings me to my number one and my favorite one, as far as, like, stories and events go. I just thought this was interesting as fuck. The Exorcist. So, based on an alleged pronunciation is just not my thing today. Anyway, based on the alleged possession of a little boy in 1949 named Robbie that grew up in Cottage City, Maryland, as part of a German Lutheran family that ended up getting an actual exorcism shortly after expressing interest in Ouija boards. The crucifix scene in the Exorcist movie. In 1634, the exorcisms for a group of nuns took place because the nuns themselves were allegedly having naughty, illicit dreams about their priest, Urbain Grandier. That's his name. I'm so sorry if that was a bad pronunciation. But again, terrible with pronunciation today. Anyway, Urbain then took it upon himself to go ahead and perform these exorcisms himself to clear his name. During said exorcism, the nuns convulsed, blasphemed, and made all these extra sexual motions directed at the priests. And well, the attempt did not work out for Urbain in the long run because he ended up being imprisoned, tortured, and burned at the stake later on. So yeah, there's that. I just found that super interesting, and I hope you guys do too with this list. I really hope you guys like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell icon. I really enjoyed making this list, so I hope you guys enjoy it to the fullest, and maybe do some more research. Maybe something that I didn't see that had happened, or what's your favorite true events or stories that are from horror movies. I really want to know. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and yeah. See